You ever have one of those moments where you think you're losing your mind one minute, you're just unlocking your car like any other day, and the next, someone's yelling at you, hand where I can see them, like you're the villain in your own life? That was me, right there in the parking lot, sun beating down, nothing but the sound of two cops behind me, one already convinced I'm stealing my own damn car. Yeah, that happened. I remember I actually laughed just for a second before it hit me this was real, and not the kind of mix-up that gets fixed with a simple sorry, officer. The tall one, sunglasses and a smirk like he practiced it, steps up Yuri under arrest for attempted grand theft auto. He says, dead serious, like this is just Tuesday for him. I hadn't even gotten my key in the lock. I tried, jiggled it a couple times, thinking maybe I'd grabbed the wrong key. You know, dumb little everyday stuff. But before I can even mumble, wait, what? The guy grabs my wrist, yanks my arm behind my back, already calling me a thief right to my face. His partner, the young one, hangs back, looks green, honestly like he still thinks this could be a mistake, but the older cop's already got the cuffs out, reading me my rights before I can say a word in my own defense. I tell them center console, my wallet, my license, everything's in there. Just check. I keep repeating it, trying to keep my voice steady, not to sound desperate, but it's like talking to a wall. The older cop just rolls his eyes, nudges his buddy, you believe the stones on this guy? Like I'm some kind of joke. The kid Edwards, I'll never forget, is to me. He looks like he wants to say something, but his boss barks at him, just get the car open so we can process this guy. So that's how I ended up shoved in the back of a patrol car, hands cuffed, heart pounding, just hoping someone would listen for 2 damn seconds. You ever see something so unfair you feel your blood boil, and there's nothing you can do? That's exactly what it felt like, hopeless, humiliating, and somehow way too familiar. The drive to the station, I keep saying just check the car, please, my ID's right there, but it's the same answer every time. Save it for the judge, liar, thief. All of it starts to sound the same after a while. At the station, the booking's quick and cold. I get thrown in a holding cell, the door slamming behind me like a period at the end of a sentence I never got to write. Still, I don't give up, officer. Just check the car. My stuff is right there, I swear. The older cop's gone, but then Edwards, the young guy, he walks over, crouches by the bar, says, if you're really the owner, where's your ID? I tell him again, center console, please just look. He studies my face for a second, like he's actually weighing it, and then, finally, he nods. Sit tight, he says, I'll be back. You ever feel like the whole world's stacked against you, but one person finally, just maybe, is listening? That was Edwards. He walks out to the break room, and you can tell he's nervous, asks his sergeant if they can check the car, just to be sure. The sergeant laughs him off, tells him to drop it, threatens to ruin his career if he goes behind his back. Edwards says he'll drop it, but I can tell he's lying. Sometimes, doing the right thing means making enemies in your own house. Later, Edwards sneaks out and calls an old friend, Detective Ramirez, from another precinct. He doesn't give details, just says he needs help getting into the car quietly. Ramirez shows up, pops the lock, and they start searching. Here's where it all gets twisted. The center console is empty. Glove box. Nothing. Under the seat, not a single scrap of paper. Edward stands there, stunned, like he's just been gut punched. You sure this is the right car? Ramirez asks. Edwards can't answer because suddenly nothing makes sense. And just as they're about to leave, the sergeant shows up, arms folded, voice sharp. You have any idea how bad this looks? He says, and you can see Edward shrink a little, but he stands his ground. Sorry, Sarge. Had to be sure. The sergeant asks if they found anything off course. They didn't. Smug as ever, he tells Edwards to get in the car before he loses his temper. Back at the station, Edwards heads to the cell where I'm sitting, still hoping for good news. He tells me nothing. He found nothing. My heart drops. That can't be. I put it right there, I say, not even trying to hide my frustration. Edwards looks at me. His voice Tenzito, you know what kind of trouble I'm in for listening to you? He thinks I lied, and honestly, for a second, I start to wonder if maybe I'm a crazy one. He leaves, and I'm stuck there, the weight of everything pressing down. Next morning, the whole squad room's buzzing. The police chief comes in, calls everyone to attention, wants to talk about an arrest from the day before. Calls the sergeant up first, lets him brag about how he caught a car thief red-handed. The chief nods, then calls Edwards up front who asks if it's true he disobeyed a direct order to search the car. Edwards owns he did, takes the blame without blinking. And here's where everything flips. The chief just smiles, says, "I'm glad you did." Silence falls over the room. The chief explains he rigged the car with hidden cameras he'd been getting complaints, whispers about racial profiling, so he set up a test. The whole thing was a setup. And then he opens the door in and I walk, not in cuffs, not in orange, but in a suit, badge clipped to my belt. Because I'm not just David the suspect, I'm Detective David, from another station, volunteering to be the suspect in a sting operation. The young officer's jaw drops, and the sergeant starts sweating. Edwards looks at me, then at the chief, trying to put it all together. The chief cues up footage on his tablet clear as day. The sergeant is seen reaching into the console, pulling out my wallet and license, then pocketing them, tampering with evidence. The chief turns to the sergeant. "You can explain it to the judge." And right there, I stepped forward and read the sergeant his rights, cuffing him in front of the whole room. Sweet, cinematic justice. The chief turns back to Edwards, tells him it takes guts to risk your job for what's right. Offers him a promotion on the spot. Edwards blinks, still trying to process it all, but nods. "I'd be honored, sir." And for a moment, you can feel the room breathe a wrong set right. The truth finally out in the open. But hey, let's not kid ourselves. Just because this one story ended with the bad guy in cuffs doesn't mean it's always so neat, right? How many times does the world turn a blind eye before someone finally says enough? So tell me, how do you think? Is justice always this clear? Or is the truth a little messier than we like to admit? Drop your thoughts below. Who gets to decide what's right and what's wrong? And what would you do if you were in Edward's shoes? If you believe that real justice is worth fighting for, don't just sit back, let's hear your voice.